evening. So let's just get some introductions in. Of course, we're going to do ladies first. So Miss Marisol John, go ahead and introduce yourself, your profession, where you're joining us from.
Good evening, and good evening to everyone. My name is Marisol John, as you rightfully introduced me as. Currently, I am not employed. However, I am a university student at the York University, pursuing a degree in biotechnology. Currently, I'm at home in Sultan. Unfortunately, I'm here because of school. I'm doing my degree online.
Good, good. Nice to meet you, Marisol. And King Jaydee, tell us about you.
Right. Good evening, everyone. I am Jude Deloney. You know me as Jaydee, right? Coming from the village of Point Michel. I work at AC Schillingford and Company Limited. AC Schillingford has many departments, including shipping. We have a gas station. We have two 7-Elevens and a self-service in the center of Roseau. And we have an insurance company also.
Yeah.
So I kind of do IT for the whole company.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's my main job.
Right. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the Saturday Night Lime on Push Past 10, where we celebrate everything. We celebrate our culture, we celebrate our people, we celebrate and promote our businesses. We do everything here on Push Past 10. So let's just see who's checking in with us. Wow, guys, this is going crazy. So we have Shervin, we have Junior Hippolyte, we have Jabawi, which means this person is from
Salisbury.
Salisbury. I was about to say Scotland. This person is from Salisbury. So thank you guys. Thank you for stopping by as we celebrate Carnival 2021 virtually. And don't forget to let everybody know that we're here. So guys, let's just jump into a conversation. Let's have a little talk about just your journey to your individual thrones. What inspired you to pursue calypso and pageantry, and just the people who inspired you, and just have a nice little conversation this evening. So again, ladies first, Miss Marisol, you want to tell us about your journey to the throne?
Well, for starters, I'm Miss Dominica 2019, not the reigning Miss Dominica 2020, who is Savan James. I started my journey really way back when, as a little girl, actually. I remember looking at pageants on TV with my mom, and I would always tell her, one day I'm going to do that. And so said, so done. I did tell her one day I will become Miss Dominica. I didn't know when, how, or if I would actually become Miss Dominica, but it was a dream of mine. And I began my pageantry journey at primary school. I entered my first pageant in grade 5, and I emerged the first runner-up of the Convent Prep Princess Show. And following that, I also participated in the Brownie Camp Miss Noel. Was it Miss Noel? I really can't remember, but a Brownie Camp pageant, and I emerged the winner of that. So my love for pageantry has always been in me for a very, very long time. But as I grew older, I realized that pageantry was more than just the dressing up and the displaying of your walking skills. And so I felt it had a lot more, especially within the Caribbean. Our pageantry is more cultural, and it basically gives young women an opportunity to display their culture on a different level. So I decided that if I were to ever take part in Miss Dominica, I would definitely embrace my culture, because I really do love every aspect of my culture, and I'm Dominican to the bone. So during during my later teenage and early adulthood life, I considered going up for the pageant, but really and truly my family, and especially my Auntie Jay, she pushed me to actually participate in the pageant. If it wasn't for her, really and truly, I would not have done Miss Dominica 2019. And because of her encouragement, I went forth and I did my best shot, and there I am.
Yes, yes, very impressive. And of course, if you're just joining us, we're here. We are celebrating Carnival 2021 virtually, and we are so fortunate that we sent out an invitation to a couple of our Carnival heavyweights, and just about everyone has agreed to be with us. And of course, you just heard from the lovely Miss Marisol John. And if you're just wondering why the current Carnival queen, Miss Savan James, is not on the live with us, it's because she simply could not make today. So she will be our guest on Thursday. So mark your calendar, pull your cell phone out, make sure you make a note to join us Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Miss Savan James will be our guest, and maybe someone else will join her. Who knows? But we are very thankful that Miss Marisol John has joined us, as well with the current Calypso King, Mr. Jaydee, is also with us. So Jaydee, tell us about your uh, approach to the throne, your travels to the throne.
Okay, if I had to start from the beginning, it would have to be from where I developed a love for music. I developed that love at an early age because my father, who is deceased now, he played the guitar, and every night he would play guitar to me and until I fall asleep, sing me songs and so on. So from a very tender age, that love for music was there. Now, in terms of calypso, at a young age also, I always used to listen to the shows on the radio. As you know, they broadcast each of the competitions on the radio, TBS and whatever. So I would always listen, most times with my parents, and we would share our views on listen to the songs, share our views on what we think is good, what we think is not good. So technically, I was developing, without even knowing, uh, the love for calypso, and I also love to write. I also love to write. So I blend that love for writing with the love for the music. And I used to, like, I started competing in 2013, 2014. Yeah. So maybe like 4 years before that, I would, every time the season come around, I would try to write a calypso. I would try to write something, but it was never to my satisfaction. And finally in 2013, like, yeah, for the 2014 season, I wrote Chinaman, and when I sang it to my brother, I sang it to my brother first, and he was quite impressed with it, and that's where it all started. With Chinaman, I made it to semifinals. Yes, I made it to semifinals in 2014, and from there, I think I made the next year. I made semis also. The third year, I didn't do too well. I think I fell in the quarters. And that is when I decided, I changed my style a little bit because my previous calypsos were kind of up tempo. I had Chinaman and Madman in Tong, and they were both up tempo. So I decided to slow it down so everybody can hear clearly what I was saying and so on. And that is when I wrote All the Way. Going all the way this time. Yeah. And that really led me all the way to the finals. And yeah, so that was an interesting point in my calypso career. And from then, that was 2017. 2017 all the way. 2018, we had just been struck with Maria, right? And then I wrote, help me out. Help me out. Was it Relief? Relief. That was a Relief song, yes. Yeah, I wrote Relief. Made it to the finals again. In 2019, though, I had two songs, two big songs, in my opinion. The Four King Executive and another one entitled Get Out. The up-tempo fast Get Out. And a lot of people were of the opinion that I should have sang Get Out in the semis to make it to finals. But I sang Four King Executive, and to my knowledge, I thought that song was good enough to make it to the finals. It was a popular song and the lyrics was on point and so on, blah, blah, blah. But I fell in the semis. But I didn't fall. I licked my wounds. And then 2020, here am I again. Hitting them hard with That Is Mass. And then Don't Complain in the finals. That's the journey to the front.
Yeah, two big songs. And of course,
Yes.
thank you both for sharing with us your journey to the throne. And of course, we want our audience to interact with us, to share this experience with us. And we see that a number of people are already doing so. So we have Carla who says, shout out to Jaydee from New York. And we have Miss Leticia Butler on the live who is bigging up Marisol. And of course, we want to say a very special thank you to Leticia because she is our point person when it comes to the pageant. So show some love for Leticia. So show some love because she is our point person who always responds to my requests and is, always eager to get me connected with the queen, the former queens, the current queens. So again, thank you for Leticia for joining us, and also thank you for being here. So let's just talk about your experiences. Tell us some of the wonderful experiences you had once you won your crowns. Marisol?
Before we go ahead, just bigging up Leticia one time.
Yes.
She's everything to
Amazing.
me. She's the one who actually made me the person that I am in terms of pageantry. I could not have done it without her.
Yes.
So good night.
She's a wonderful person.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
During my reign and prior to the reign, I would say that the two happiest or the two most positive experiences or the best experiences that I've had throughout the entire thing was actually being on the stage, and secondly, being able to make connections with people that I met throughout the journey. For starters, the stage was the best experience for me for a number of reasons. It is very true that I'm a very shy, introverted kind of person. But being on the stage, it allowed me to be a different person. And I gained a bit more self-awareness and confidence from actually performing. And it was something that I truly enjoyed. And it made me realize that all the hard work that I had done in preparation, all the long nights, all the strenuous practices, the horrible diets, they all paid off at the end. And secondly, being able to make connections with people, like through my regional representation, I made friends with wonderful young women all across the region. And I still speak to a couple of them on a daily basis, or I just have a good relationship with them. And I really appreciated that aspect of the journey, as well as the people here who I made friends with through the pageantry arena. A number of people became my family. One in particular, Nadir Orlando. She helped in my training as well. And if it weren't for people who knew about the pageantry arena and who had positive criticism to give to me, I would not have been as successful as I was. And the whole journey helped to shape me, and I'm very grateful, extremely grateful for every single part of the journey, all the goods and the bad as well.
Yeah, and of course, we're going to have Miss Savan James on with us on Thursday at 6 p.m. But I just want you to kind of walk us through everything that she missed during this COVID year. So, what were some of the places that your travels took you? What were some of the competitions that you were able to participate in during your reign as 2019 Carnival Queen?
Well, as a part of the reign, I had to represent Dominica at the three regional pageants that took place last year. That was the JC's Queen Show in Antigua, the OACS pageant that was held here, and Caribbean Culture Queen that was held in Nevis. In both of the out pageants in Antigua and Nevis, we had a number of representatives from all over the islands, from I think as far as Montserrat to Trinidad. So it was a very well diverse representation of girls throughout the pageants. Though I wasn't as successful as I hoped to be, the experience was unforgettable. I made friends, I made contacts, I experienced different cultures. I will never forget the lifestyle and the food and the clothing, just the people that you come in contact with when you're not in Dominica. It makes you feel very appreciative of your own country as well as the different cultures around you. The OACS pageant that was held here, it was a great experience. In this pageant, I performed and I placed the second runner-up, I believe, yes. And in that pageant, I was able to actually host the Caribbean delegates, and that was another unforgettable experience. They were extremely happy to be in Dominica because, surprisingly enough, not many Caribbean people actually have visited Dominica. And for some of them, it was the very first time that they've been here. So it was good to actually introduce them to our culture, our way of life, and the different sites that we went to. They definitely appreciated that. And again, the friends that I've made, unforgettable bonds. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, the connections that you make with the other girls, their chaperones, the other people that you meet along the journey. It's so important because that is something you can move forward with and be able to stay in contact with these individuals that you met along the way. So again, we're enjoying the interaction with the audience. Thank you for stopping by. Glenda said you did Dominica very well. She's proud of you for how you represented Dominica. And again, if you're just joining us, we're celebrating 2021 Carnival virtually, and we're just enjoying everyone who's willing to stop in and interact with us and celebrate with us in spirit. So Jaydee, it took you a while to get to the throne, but what was that experience like for you that night that crown was placed on your head?
Well, let me just say, it took me a while, but it was a short while compared to some other people.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yes, it was. So yeah, 2014 to 2020, that's not too bad.
That's not bad
That's
at
not
all.
too bad. Yeah, but I mean, the journey this year was it was a very interesting experience. Interesting in the sense that for the first time since I entered the arena with that is mass from the first competition, which was quarterfinals, I placed first.
Mm.
At semis, I placed first, and obviously at finals. So that was the first time. That's the first song that made me place first in a competition. And going through, I never let this under drop to, let's say, second or something. So I kept it there and kept going. Yeah. So that was the interesting part about it. And also on the night that I won, there is something that I noticed that all the other Calypsonians around me I could say they seem really genuinely happy that I won. When I look at their faces and the way some of them come to embrace me and so on. So that was a really good feeling, man, to know that people you're competing with are happy for you. That was a really good feeling.
Yeah, and you wrote both songs, right?
Yes, I wrote both
Yes,
songs.
impressive.
Yeah. No, like I said, that is Mass was always in front. And then with the releasing of Do Complain, the day I released Do Complain, that is the day I realized, boss, you might actually win that crown. Because the kind of response that I got from releasing that song, my phone went dead from messages. Yeah, it was really overwhelming. So that was the first hint I had that, yo, once you go out there and you perform your songs, that thing can be yours.
Yeah, but how did it feel? Because you know, King Dice is the king of all kings. So how did it feel to step into those shoes and be considered at the level of King Dice in terms of winning the competition?
Well, I mean, that is what we all doing it for, and it's a really great feeling. I mean, Dice is exceptional. You have to say that about the man. 9 crowns, that speaks for itself, you know? And it was kind of heartbreaking to see him falter in the first round, because I really wanted to, I wanted him at his best to see if, you know?
Yes, I see what
I
you're
wanted him
saying.
at his best, because you know when you beat Dice, that crown is yours. That's how I see it.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and the other thing about it too, he was always encouraging me too. He's one that from the time I stepped into the arena, he's one that always encourage. Every time I meet him, we don't meet often, but during the season, when I meet him, he might give me a little idea on, yo, nice song, but he always have some words that's sticking with me throughout the season, and I thank him for that, because he's a push, he's an encouragement, he's a drive from somebody you kind of look up to, and like you want to be in their position. So when they give you those kind of words, it's always a blessing, and it's always a good thing, because I mean, somebody in that position could let's say tell you things to kind of give you second thoughts about yourself or your confidence and so on. But to me, he's not that kind of man, and yeah, respect for that.
Yeah, and you know, we had Dice on last week, and I mean, he is such a positive spirit. I am not surprised that he was encouraging you along the way, because that's who he is. He's a positive light, and of course, we want to keep the interaction going with the audience. And we have several comments coming in. We have Showin who says he's locked in, and that is right. Let's see. We have Sabria Senhouse. This one is for Marisol. Beautiful, classy, and articulate young lady. So that's a compliment for you. Marisol Juliet says, it didn't take him a while, because he not too long into the Calypso thing, and he did it. So they're saying big up to Jaydee. It didn't take him too long before he got to the top. Letitia says, nice vibes, Jaydee. Carla, I agree with Jaydee. It did not take him long to become and she put this in capital, our king. Yeah. So now let's talk about some not so good experiences you guys may have had during your reign. Anything comes to mind?
Well, for me, it's just the fact that I didn't get to travel.
Yes, I was thinking about that.
Yeah. I mean, all the other years, when I didn't win, I was traveling every other year. I used to travel and go and represent, you know, New York, Canada, and so on. And this year, when I finally made it, nothing for me. But I mean, that's how it is. The next 2022, I'll just have to win again.
Yeah, I agree. You're gonna have to make sure you get that crown, because
yeah. But a positive thing coming from that though was I got the chance to write a song and collaborate with 8 other Calypsonians, 9 of us on one song. That song is entitled One Day at a Time. And it's really, I wrote it for the times we are in right now, but it can go for any time. Because basically it's taking you whatever comes your way in life. You need to take your time, take it one day at a time, and you will get through. It's a very encouraging song and so on. So I got to interact and thing in studio with Dice, Tasha, P, Webb, the young Mighty D who I write for, the experienced Checker. I guess I'm missing out some guys. I can't remember. Oh, Lady S, and a couple of Checo, my boy Checo. That's my boy. So yeah, and so it was a very nice experience to be amongst the Calypsonians and not in that competing spirit. It's more of a camaraderie kind of spirit. I really love that, and I would like to encourage more of that. If every year maybe the King or somebody else can just do a little a song and feature everybody, a few Calypsonians, I mean, that would be great, man.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Marisol, any negative experiences? But before you answer that, let's just make sure we are keeping the conversation going with the audience. They're showing us lots of love. So everyone, thank you for being here. Again, we're celebrating Carnival 2021 virtually, and we're enjoying the company of all our Calypso and our cultural individuals who are willing to stop by and just say hi, spend an evening talking and connecting with us. So Glenda says, yep, I admire Marisol for that you're very poised. And then she also says, you deserve your crown, Jaydee. This caller has lots of love and fire for Jaydee. We love you, and she has all this fire behind it, so that's great. Ashanti says, very much so. And it continues. We have Bishana with us. We have Alicia with us. Naren is with us, another Calypso great. Naren, thank you for being here.
Trendsetter.
Yes, trendsetter. So Naren, we need to get you on a live, man. We have Queen, Ailey, Choco, a whole lot of people are with us. So thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you for stopping by as we celebrate our virtual Carnival 2021 right here on Push Past 10. So Marisol, did you have any negative experiences during your reign?
So many come to mind.
Oh, no.
But
I was hoping not.
Unfortunately. But being an optimistic person, I always look for the silver lining in the most difficult of the situations. I would have to say my most difficult encounter, or the most negative part of my entire journey, was having to deal with all the voices around you, the criticism, and not the constructive kind. I had to struggle to find a middle ground between who I wanted to be and who my team wanted me to be, and who my family wanted me to be, and who the public wanted me to be. So I had to battle with myself a lot, trying to get that middle ground as to where I should actually focus my energy and how I would deal with all the opinions and the voices that would tell me what I should be and what I should not be. So that would have to be the most difficult part. I also encountered quote unquote bullying, but in life that happens all the time. So
how do you bully a Carnival queen? She's the most beautiful, most poised. Wait, I don't get it. You got bullied? Tell us about that.
Well, maybe I'm just a soft-hearted person, but in our Caribbean culture, we're not very kind with the things that we say to other people, or we consider it as, just probing somebody, but really and truly, those things are very hurtful. There were certain times when I felt as if my crown was disrespected. We like to say protocol is established. protocol was not established in not a literal sense, but certain areas like that. But I feel like these are things that we're unaware of it. And until people actually speak about it, then we can actually fix the problems. So at the moment, they were hurtful. But right now, looking back on the journey, I don't see it as a negative thing because it really did help me to become a better person. It made me grow an external shell. I became tougher from it. And I can't say that the entire journey was like roses and petals and honey and sugar. No, it was not all that. But every single negative part of it had a positive part to it. And that's all I can say on the negatives. At least I got to travel and I got to represent my country. But Jaydee, I know you will do well whenever you do get to travel again.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
I,
can
and I think some association, some Dominica association, owe Jaydee a trip, man. Whether he wins or not, this is unprecedented. Whether he
Yeah,
wins or not, next when
I
the
mean,
borders are open, you need to travel.
yeah, thank you for putting that out there. Maybe somebody will take it up.
Yeah, I agree. So Marisol,
Yeah.
one other quick question I have for you, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were a teacher at the convent high school. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
I recently left though because
Okay.
of school.
Right, right. So do you see yourself as a role model for the ladies? And do you think about that when you think of how you carry yourself and how you react to certain situations? Do you think that the young ladies
Definitely.
that you've taught are looking at you?
Definitely. It also has to do with the fact that I also taught at my alma mater, and the convent high school is known for producing a particular set of young ladies.
Well, yes, I
So,
will put my hand up. I'm from
definitely.
convent.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I felt like coming from that class or that poise and elegance that we're constantly producing, I had an obligation more than ever to actually be a positive role model to my students. And through the past 2 years that I taught at the school, I've made connections with the students that even today, my past students still they respect me in that sense and they come to me for advice. They look at me as somebody that they emulate. And that's probably the most that's the biggest blessing I've gotten from all of this, to be able to influence and have a good impact on other people, regardless of all the drama or the negative parts that surrounded everything.
Yeah, and it would also be remiss of me if I didn't mention that you're an island scholar. So I think a lot of times people think of pageantry as beauty, or she has a pretty face, she has a nice body, she can pose, she can perform. But what they don't realize is that, should I say it or should you say it, how many ones you got?
Not many people know this, but I did attain 10 ones at CXC in 2015,
Yes.
granting me the actual position.
Yes, congratulations. So let's see some love in the comments. Congratulations, Marisol, because I think many times we don't take, you hear so much more talk about calypso during carnival time, but the carnival queen contestants are just as formidable as the young men who step up to challenge the throne for calypso. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, thank
Yes, and
you.
thank you for being such a positive role model. Yes.
Well,
So
it comes with the crown as well.
yes, say that again.
So it comes with the crown as well. The obligation to be a positive role model, it comes with the crown. I don't think the crown is just the crown. It comes with responsibilities, and one of the greatest responsibilities is to be able to have an impact and to give back to the community in meaningful ways.
Yes.